Hello, good morning. How are you, friends? Hope all of you are fine. It is a long gap. We met last time in March. As all of you are aware, there was corona pandemic, COVID-19 problems. Now, as the situation improved, the college is back. Thank God. We hope that your classes will be okay in few weeks' time. By then, we will be giving you some online classes, lectures, and sometimes live talks as well from the Department of English that will cover some portions from all your papers. I believe you are familiar already with your syllabus, the courses for your semester 3. One of the major core papers is applied phonetics. This brief lecture, online class, will introduce you to the concept of some of the basic concepts of phonetics. Okay, let us begin. Any discussion with phonetics will start with a simple question: what is language? Because language is the key area where we are specializing, right? Okay, language can be defined in different ways. There are so many standard definitions. I'm not going to any definition. Instead, I would like to quote Dr. Johnson, uh, who authored the first dictionary of English language. He said, language is dress of thought. Very simple, dress of thought. A very beautiful way of explaining what language is. Since it is dress of thought, all our thoughts are dressed in language and they are communicated or passed to other persons. That is what we do in our social life. That is why language becomes a very key area where research and studies go through, and we are also specializing in that. You are already familiar with the concept of linguistics. What is linguistics? Linguistics is the branch of knowledge, study related to language. Any study about language can be said a branch of linguistics. And it is from that we move to phonetics, isn't it? Because phonetics is also a branch of linguistics. Look at the slide. You see here branch of linguistics. So many branches are there. I have put only few. You will find psycholinguistics, pragmatics, semiotics, semantics, syntax, grammar, morphology, social linguistics, phonetics, and so on. Of all these branches, some of them are familiar to you. For example, grammar, of course, you are familiar. In grammar, we have learned or we are learning what is correct, what is right, what is wrong. Why this sentence is acceptable, why that sentence is not acceptable. Why this form of the verb cannot be used here, why certain verb should be used there. This type of questions will be addressed by grammar, and grammar will help us to use language in accepted correct format. Whereas phonetics is not dealing with that, it is dealing with a different area. Before I enter to phonetics, I may go through some of the areas, branches, which you might be familiar or just heard of. The nomenclature. For example, there is semiotics. Semiotics is a familiar word to you. It deals with, is a branch of linguistics which deals with studies of signs. S-I-G-N-S, sign, chinna. Language is full of signs, and how these signs make us or enable us to communicate, When someone is using a sign, how other person understand meaning, such a type of questions will be addressed by semiotics. Whereas semantics will address the question how meaning is possible. When I say the word bench, B-E-N-C-H, how do you understand it is bench, or how do you understand what I mean? Is there any natural relation between them? If there is any natural relation, all people should use the same word. But in all languages, bench is not bench. We know that. Dog is not dog. Different languages have different words for that, isn't it? So there is something behind it, and such a type of complicated issues are discussed by or addressed by semantics. Grammar, syntax is dealing with the structures, and similarly, phonetics is dealing with another aspect of language. It is related to form. What is form? Sound. So phonetics, the primary interest of phonetics is how human beings produce sounds. Why different sounds are different. Some sounds are produced from the same place of articulation. Sometimes the manner of articulation also is same, but they are two different sounds. I'll give you a simple example. You say the two words pat and bat. P-A-T, B-A-T. The initial sound of each word, p and b, they are produced from the same place, right? You look at a mirror, you will find when you say pat, your both lips are joined together. So sound is coming from there. It is from the same place. You say b also, bat. The way you produce same, but one is pat, one is bat. Different words, different sounds, different meanings. So phonetics is addressing the question, in what way b is different from p? Another area of interest for phonetics is why a particular language is utilizing a certain number of sounds. We know that human beings are capable of producing innumerable sounds. God has given that miraculous power of speech for us. We can produce so many sounds. There is no limit. But Malayalam is making use of only a few number of sounds from that. Same sounds are not utilized by English. The sounds that are utilized by Arabic are different from that of English or from that of Malayalam. If you find confusing, I'll give you a simple example. You are familiar with the word Allah, which is commonly known to Muslims as well as non-Muslims. My concentration is, my focus is on the sound Allah. In Arabic there is Allah, but in Malayalam we don't have Allah, we have Allah or we have La. We don't have Allah. In English we don't have Allah. Similarly, in Malayalam we have Mara, Vara, Kori, Puru. We have a Ra sound, right? Do we have the same sound in English? Of course not. At the most you can find pleasure. It is not pleasure. So there is no Ra, it is Ja. And there is a Z sound in English, zest. But in Malayalam we have no Z. We have a Sa. We have so many Sas. Correct? So this question, why certain sounds occur in certain languages, why all languages do not utilize all sounds, what is the criterion, who is doing this selection, such a type of a question or questions are another area where phonetics is finding interest. And the third area of phonetics is where phonetics finds interest is, I'll give you an example. I say a sentence, are you going or are you coming? It's a question, right? Are you coming? Yes. Do you wish to come? That's a question. Suppose I say the same sentence in a slightly varied tone. Are you coming or are you going? It adds something. It means that the speaker is asking, are you going? Plus, the speaker is not expecting him to go. That is why there is a stress. Are you going? meaning that I don't want you to go now, or I don't expect you to go now. Where do you get this meaning, additional meaning from? It is from something, our tone, our stress, correct? And how this is communicated, this is another area. So phonetics is dealing primarily with the sounds and related issues of sound. So we can say that, as you see in the slide, it is the study of articulation of speech sounds or production of speech sounds and classification of speech sounds. Or in simple way we can say, it is studying physical properties of speech. It deals with the selection of and the differentiations of speech sounds as well and suprasegmental features as well. Now, let us go to summarize what phonetics is doing. Phonetics is doing three different type of jobs. Based on that, you can say three different types of phonetics exist. One is articulatory phonetics, second one is acoustic phonetics, and the third one is auditory phonetics. What is articulatory? Just like the word means, it is trying to answer the question how humans plan and execute movements to produce speech. When you want to say I, of course, the thought comes from your brain, that thought is passed to your tongue and other organs, and you are making the sound. The sound is produced, the sound waves move out, it reaches the receiver, the other person. He is receiving the sound waves, he is decoding it, then he understands what you said. Correct? So, what is happening inside the planning and executing of movements of your different organs of speech? The second one is acoustic. Acoustic dealing with the sound. How different movements result in sounds. Your tongue moves, your lip moves, different parts of your tongue moves, your vocal cord moves, they vibrate, not vibrate. So different movements, how do they result in sounds? That also is an interest, and it is dealing, acoustic phonetics is dealing with that. And the last one is auditory phonetics. This area is trying to answer the question how humans convert sound waves to linguistic information. I told you, when you uttered the sound I, it is reaching my ear and I heard only a sound, but the sound ended as wave and it is converted into an information, a meaning. It is a decoding. So there is a coding and decoding process. That process is explained by auditory phonetics. All these areas are addressed by phonetics, articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics. Now we go to one of the basic features of or areas where we have to listen. You know that how sound is produced. For sound producing, there should be a movement of air. If you make a very fast movement of your hand, it can create a sound. When you move your tongue or when you move any object in the air, it may produce sound. Similarly, an air movement or current is necessity or it is the basic for production of speech sound as well. So where is the air is moving in our body? Of course, we inhale and exhale. We breathe, right? It is the same air we utilize for producing speech sound as well. So it is understood there should be a movement of air for producing the sound, and that we call air stream mechanism. Air stream mechanism, air stream. Studies say that there are three types of air stream mechanisms possible for human beings. And what they say three, it is based on a concept which we call initiator. Look at the slide, you will find the word initiation and initiator. What is initiator? Initiator is any object or any force that prompts air to move. When you push something, air moves forward. When you pull something, air moves backward, right? And like that, when the lung air, our body is always having air, it is there. We breathe in and breathe out. Our breath is already there. And this air is pushed out or pushed in by utilizing certain organs from our body, and there are three body parts utilized for that. And these three different body parts, air streams which are caused by different body parts, are categorized as three. The first one is called pulmonic airstream mechanism. The word pulmonic is familiar to you. You have learned this in biology. It is related to lungs. So the first one is the air that came in our lung is pushed out. How the air is pushed out? Because the diaphragm of our lung is working very hard. Continuously it is working. So together the muscles of the chest or the diaphragm and the ribs, they push the air out and they pull the air in. And this push out is caused by the lungs or the diaphragm in the lungs. That is why we call it pulmonic. So the air stream in which diaphragm or the lungs is the initiator, then we call it a pulmonic airstream mechanism. Another one is, look at the picture, it is called glottalic airstream mechanism. What is glottis? Glottis is the gap between the two vocal cords. We will come into details what is this vocal cords, their function, glottis, etc. in another chapter. But just understand looking at the image that glottis is inside your Adam's apple in the neck, in your throat. So, if the initiation, the pushing of the air is caused by the movement of the glottis, then we call it's a glottal airstream mechanism. Then we have one more which is called velaric. Why we call it velaric? Look at the image. The back part of the tongue is causing a velic closure. The oral part is closed because the back part of the tongue is raised. So the initiation happens by the back part of the tongue. So we call it velaric airstream mechanism. Once again I repeat, the three airstream mechanisms are named using the name of the initiator who is causing the air to flow. The first one is pulmonic because it is from the lungs. Lungs, the muscles of the chest or the lungs or the diaphragm, they are the one initiating. The second one is called glottalic because glottis is the initiator. The third one is velaric because it is the velic closure or the back part of the tongue is raising and such is causing an airstream mechanism. And one more point you have to understand is all these three airstream mechanisms have two modes. Two mode in the sense that it can come in, it can go out. The air is coming into our mouth or nose and it is going out through mouth or nose. If the air is coming in, we call it ingressive. Look at the slide. INGRESSIVE, ingressive. If the air is going out, we call it aggressive. Before I proceed, let me ask you to check. You say any sound, you say any word, and you check whether you are using the air out or either in. Or in other words, when you speak, you use the air, breathe in or breathe out. How can you understand that? A very simple test is there. Put your palm in front of your lips, in front of your mouth when you speak, and you say something. If you find that puff of air is touching your palm, your hand, that means the air is coming out, correct? Can you check it? You say, hello, how are you? You feel it? Yes. When you say you feel it, of course I feel it. So the air is coming out, meaning that when we speak, the air is coming out. So if the air which is coming out is utilized for producing a sound, we call it is aggressive airstream mechanism. If we utilize some air is coming in, then we say ingressive. You may have a doubt, can we make any sound without pushing air out? Of course it is possible. I'll give you a simple example. Are you familiar with the sound that the horse riders use? When you in the movie you see the people are riding horses. What's that sound? Can you say that? You hear me? That sound. When you say that sound, you don't feel the puff of air out. So the air is in. What I mean is, it is possible. But in short, understand that almost all languages, almost all human speech sounds are utilizing pulmonic aggressive airstream. Pulmonic means it is coming from the lungs, and the muscles of the lungs are chest are the initiator, and the air utilized is going out, not coming in, aggressive. In English, in Malayalam, or in most of the languages, in almost all human speech sounds are produced by using pulmonic aggressive airstream mechanisms. There are other airstream mechanisms. Pulmonic is also ingressive. Velaric has aggressive and ingressive. Glottalic also has aggressive and ingressive. But the sounds that we produce using that, the other five airstream mechanisms are very minimum, and sometimes it is very nil. I hope you understood the basic concept of why we learn phonetics, what is phonetics, in what way it is related to grammar, and some major branches of linguistics, how phonetics is related to linguistics, what is the basic concept of phonetics, and why airstream mechanism is important. The next chapter we will continue in another video lecture. Please go through the slides, and if you have any doubts, you can contact me either on WhatsApp, or we will be having a Zoom meeting, also a live classroom, after we finish this topic. Thank you very much. Thank you.